Hello YouTube, it's your boy Nathan coming to you to do another recap video. Today we're going to be talking about 90 Day Fiancé season, 90 Day Fiancé Happily Ever After season 7 episode 2. We have a lot to get into it. Before we start, I just want to wish everybody a happy and safe Labor Day. And for those of you who have the day off, enjoy your day off. I hope you spend time with family and friends, just cooking out, barbecuing, just a relaxing day. So we're gonna get right into it. A lot went down in this episode. It wasn't that, it was half and half, half intense, half okay. Who should I start with today? Let's see. We'll kick things off with Jenny and Submit. So I'll just get right to it with them. Now, last week we left on a cliffhanger with them, with Submit telling his parents that he's married to Jenny. And we last just saw his mother just crying and saying, "Don't show your face in front of me," and plus calling Jenny's arms fat and stuff. So this episode, we had a continuation on that. She's upset. She was like, "Are you and my son? You've been giving me hell all of my life. This, and that." Like, she was just throwing shade at Submit, and she was just like, "I don't want to see you again. Don't talk to us. Like, you're not invited no more to anything. Like, don't even come to my funeral and stuff." Like, it's just so dramatic. She was just being so overly dramatic. It was so upsetting. It was really depressing. And I understand in the Indian culture, with that big age gap, I understand, but as I said before, it is not illegal. It's not illegal. It may not be culturally accepted, but it's not illegal. And they're happy. And Jenny and Submit seem happy. Submit is choosing Jenny over his family. Now, after the parents and the brother left, the brother said that he was just shocked that this happened and everything, and doesn't know how it's just going to basically play out. So after they left, Jenny and Submit get into a big argument. Now, Submit doesn't translate when he's arguing with his parents in front of Jenny. Like, he really translates, and he doesn't, like, and I feel like he should be translating and saying what they're saying. And he doesn't do that. And that irritates me about him when he does that. He should be telling, whether if it's nice or not, he should be telling Jenny what they're saying and stuff. So after the parents left, Jenny just starts screaming at him. She just screamed. Now, everybody, especially on Pillow Talk last night, was saying, well, Jenny shouldn't be screaming at him. His parents just disowned him. Jenny needs to support him. Yes, I agree. I agree with that. But Jenny has put up with this for so long now, and with Submit being scared to do a lot of things and like tolerating them and then going like after his parents and stuff. Like, I don't blame Jenny for like reacting the way she did. Maybe it was just a little too soon, but Jenny was saying, I did not want to do this. I did not want to come here and do this, because this was exactly how I thought it was going to be. They were going to flip out and go crazy, and it was just that. So she's screaming at Submit, telling him to stay away forever. And Submit was like, "You need to calm down. You don't need to be behaving this way. I need your support," whatever. And she was like, "Well, your parents hate me, this, and that, So I really don't know what they're going to do. I mean, I more than likely they work it out because they are married now. But, I just wonder how this relationship, like on all levels, is just going to be after that. So yeah, that was Jenny and Submit. Next I want to go to is Kimberly and Usman. So we saw Usman in this episode and Kimberly. So last week we had mentioned that Kimberly is going to be proposing to Usman when she goes back to Nigeria to see him. In this episode, we saw Usman meet up with his brother, and he's talking about that, he does love Kimberly. He's over the whole Zara thing. He does love Kimberly. She was in Nigeria just a few weeks before and everything. And the brother was like, "Well, what is this pattern? You keep falling with these older American women. Why can't you get an American woman who's younger and stuff?" And Usman doesn't really like answer that question because he does have a thing for the older American woman. He does have a type. Usman does have a type. So, then he talked about the second wife thing. Now, the second wife thing is going to be a huge debate because, like, he's going to want to have the second wife, have kids with the second wife. Kimberly has to accept it and everything. But it's not going to be that easy. It's not going to be that easy. So we also saw Kimberly meet up with her mother and Jamal, her son, to discuss that they're going to Nigeria. Now, what I do know, and this is very unfortunate, and maybe throughout the season, this might be a little bit of a spoiler, but I already knew about it from a long time ago. So this must have been filmed I think when Kimberly was on before the 90 days when that was airing. This might have been still when they were airing that. I do know that Kimberly's mother had passed away. And I remember Kimberly posting that on her Instagram. And then she had posted on Instagram this week, this episode is going to be hard to watch because my mother's on this episode. So prayers for Kimberly and her family, and we're very sorry about the passing of her mother. But in this episode, she met up with the mother and Jamal. And, Jamal, he's been skeptical this whole time. He's like, I didn't like what he did after Tanzania when he called Zara. I think my mom is like going crazy by doing this and stuff. And Kimberly's like, Jamal's opinion matters to me, but it's not going to change anything. Kimberly keeps saying, I love Usman. I'm going to be with Usman. I'm going to propose to him. Maybe he'll propose to me instead, but I want to do that. So we'll see how that goes. We'll just see how that goes. Next I want to talk is we got to meet them for this episode, Big Ed and Liz. So first things first with this couple, this is not a foreign couple. I'm really surprised that Big Ed and Liz are on Happily Ever After. We just got them off of The Single Life. Usually for Happily Ever After is still for 90 days, still the American foreign relationship. Well, Big Ed and Liz are not foreign. So I'm really surprised that they put them on Happily Ever After. Maybe they could have put them on The Single Life again, I don't know, or just on 90 Day Diaries, but Happily Ever After is a little weird for me for having Big Ed and Liz, but they're on here, so it's for good TV. So Big Ed and Liz. So as we all know, Big Ed is like the most talked about person in the 90 day history. He was we first met Big Ed a couple years ago when he went to the Philippines to meet a little girl named Rose from the Philippines. And when he was in the Philippines with Rose, he asked her to get an STD test. He told her breath stinks and that her breath was not pretty and stuff. And he lied about wanting to have kids with her and stuff when he doesn't want to have kids. And she broke up with him, and it was just a complete mess. And he got a lot of backlash for his treatment with Rose. Then he goes on to Single Life. On season 1 of The Single Life, he is with Liz. And they were in an up and down relationship. He moved so fast with Liz, he basically begged her to be his girlfriend, basically. And, she gave in and they dated. They broke up 8 times. They broke up and got back together 8 times. So after the last breakup, Liz bashed him on social media. Like she leaked a phone call from Big Ed. It was just not pretty. Tried to cancel him off the internet. It was just ridiculous. Fast forward to season 2 of The Single Life, they brought Big Ed back again. He goes on a trip to Mexico to meet this girl named Kaori. He treated Kaori a little bit better, but at the end, Kaori was just not that really into him that much. It wasn't bad, but compared to what he did with Rose and Liz the first time. But Kaori, she liked him at first, but then she just didn't really feel a spark with him. So when he got back from Mexico, Big Ed he had a little dog named Teddy that was just like ride or die. Well, when he got back from Mexico, his dog Teddy actually passed away. And I remember when that happened, it was all over social media. People were sending his love and stuff. People were saying, I don't like Ed, but I am sorry that this happened. So Ed has a security camera in front of his house, and he had checked it one day, and somebody had left roses and flowers after Teddy passed and just left. Well, that person just happened to be Liz 6 months after their breakup. It happened to be Liz. So he hit up Liz to say, meet up with me. And him and Liz got back together, talked about what went wrong and how I'll change and everything. And they got engaged. So then at the last tell-all on the single life, Ed and Liz are madly in love. Liz and Ed, they lost a lot of family and friends. Like, the closest people to Big Ed was his mom and his daughter. His mom, Norma, was so supportive with Ed throughout his relationship with Rose and even Liz the first time. And she even went to Mexico when he met up with Kaori. But when Ed got back with Liz, his mother did not like it at all. And, like, I guess we seen the side of Norma. There was a side of Norma that we never got to see. And Big Ed's daughter, Tiffany is just so mad because Ed keeps falling for girls that are younger than his daughter. So, and his daughter's no angel. His daughter is really mean. I understand her frustration, but his daughter is kind of mean. I think Tiffany is a little bit mean, a little bit blunt. She's not that supportive. And when he got back together with Liz, she told the whole family and stuff before Ed could even do that. So, like, nobody is happy with them getting back together. So, fast forward to now, Ed has a really good friend named Rich. He was also at the tell-all in the single life. Rich is good friends with Ed's mom, and he talks to Ed's mom more than Ed talks to her, and Ed thinks that's weird. So in this episode, we met Big Ed and Liz. They actually bought a new dog and everything. The dog looks really cute. They're going to use the dog when they get married. Then they met up with Liz's friends to discuss what happened, and they discussed the whole mom and daughter situation and the Rich situation. Well, they got to meet up with Rich, and Rich was like, Big Ed told Rich, like, listen, like, you're either with me or you're not. Like, I'm with Liz now. You got to accept that. You know, like, and Rich was like, we're supposed to be friends. We're supposed to be best friends, but, you know, if you're going to cut me off, because apparently also, this was mentioned on the single life tell-all, when Ed and Liz broke up 8 times, and Ed broke up with her via text, it wasn't him who was writing it. It was Rich who would write the breakup text to Liz, and I thought that was ridiculous on Ed's part, because, like, Ed was like, oh, my grammar's not good. I'm not that smart. And yeah, that's just ridiculous. So I'm really surprised. I was really surprised about that. So Liz is madly in love with Ed. She's like, you know, Liz said that Ed shows me love more than any other person. So that's why she's, like, trying to make this work now. So Big Ed and Liz. So like I said, Ed meets up with Rich to discuss things. Their friendship is really fractured. I don't know if he's gonna be part of the wedding and stuff. So we'll just see how that goes. But, you know, it's Big Ed. It's Big Ed. They had an okay episode to open up their start on Happily Ever After, but we all know when it's Big Ed and Liz time, it's gonna be a lot of drama throughout the season. So that was basically all we've seen out of Big Ed and Liz. Next couple I want to talk about is Elizabeth and Andre. Lordy. I can't with this couple. It's not even so much them. They're actually, you know, Elizabeth and Andre are actually a good couple. You know, so, you know, their drama is not for them. It's mostly their family. Now, I think that I have a gut feeling with, you know, since on the Family Chantel, we're about to have the season finale tonight, and Chantel and Pedro are basically done and everything. So I don't know what's going to happen with the Family Chantel. But I think if something does happen to the Family Chantel, that's going to be really replaced. And I think Elizabeth and Andre are probably going to get their own spinoff, because I think they're dying for one, because this is going to be too good for TV. So in this episode, Elizabeth and Andre, they have a housewarming party. Andre invites his co-workers and he even invited his immigration lawyer, which was kind of weird. I didn't think that was allowed per se, but okay. Little odd, but so he invites his people. He was like, it's good for me to be around successful people than scumbags, he said. I was like, okay, yeah, I guess I wouldn't word it that way, but you're right. So, and then of course Elizabeth's family came in, the sisters, Becky and Jen, they came and they started talking crap right out the gate, saying, oh, why is Andre bringing all these random people? They probably just went out on the street and handled flyers. I'm like, I'm not starting this with y'all. I'm not doing it this season with you guys. So, and then the mother and Chuck came. Now, the girls all went up. Elizabeth showed everybody around, and last week Elizabeth mentioned that she wants to start singing. So she showed them their baby Eleanor's bedroom, and it also had a piano in it, and she had told the family that she wants to start singing again. And then they were like, well, sing something now. And Elizabeth was like, I don't want to be put on the spot. And then Elizabeth had mentioned that, I think I want to start singing nursery rhymes. I was like, oh, nursery rhymes, okay, for the kids? Like, yeah. So maybe Elizabeth, maybe that's her specialty to sing nursery rhymes. And I'm like, okay, that's cute. And it really is, that's cute. And then that's all I'll say about that. So later in the episode, and of course the sisters and the mom were a little weirded out by that, but, whatever floats your boat, I guess. So later in this episode, we were praying that we could get through a whole party without there no bickering and fighting. Well, they all got together after the party, and Elizabeth's mom, Pam, saying, there was only one person missing at this party. And we were like, and that is Charlie. And we were like, Charlie, like, she told Andre, I want you and Charlie to bury the hatchet. And Andre was like, absolutely not, and, Elizabeth's sisters and everything saying he does have an alcohol problem. And finally, Elizabeth's sisters and Andre are finally on the same page when it comes to Charlie with his alcohol problem. So they were talking about that, but then Elizabeth's mom was like, well, Andre, you drink too. And Elizabeth yelled at him, don't put my husband in the same category as Charlie. And her mom was just like, you guys drink too. I seen what happened in Moldova. I just want you guys to bury the hatchet. And then Andre, now this kind of irritated me. Andre starts screaming at Elizabeth's mom. He's like, you're going to be not invited to my house if you keep putting me in the same vote as Charlie. I'm not making up with them. This, and that, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, dang, Andre, just calm down. Like, we're just trying to make peace here. But, he doesn't have to make peace if he don't want to. But, but I would never talk to my mother-in-law like that. Like, and that was and I'm really surprised nobody said nothing on how he raised his voice and screamed at Elizabeth's mom, because that just irritated me right there. Because again, I'm not team Andre, and I'm definitely not team Elizabeth's family. I'm nobody's team when it comes to them. I'm on the side of right, and and I just think like there's just a lot of antagonizing in that family. It's just a lot of jealousy in that family. This family is actually really successful. They're making money. They're making really good money, and they're still jealous. And they're still jealous. I mean, I could say something else, but I'm not going to say it. What I think about this family, but it's just that, especially you're on the 90-day universe. There's a lot of people who have cultural differences and stuff, and they're struggling like this, and they're jealous over money and stuff. And I just think that there's people, especially in the 90-day universe, who would kill to be in their situation. So I don't think all this bickering and fighting is necessary. So I'll just leave it at that with Elizabeth and Andre. And the last couple I want to talk is Balao and Shaida. Now this episode, this was the most entertaining scene I've seen in Balao and Shaida's journey so far. So last episode, Shaida wanted to meet up with Bilal's ex-wife Shahida to discuss what happened when Shahida came over to talk about the prenup and how her tone wasn't right. So they meet up at a little restaurant or coffee shop or whatever, and Shahida just came in guns blazing. The producers asked her, "Are you gonna apologize?" And Shahida was like, "For what?" And then like she sat down and Shahida was like, "Shahida, like, I respect you, but like I just want to talk to you. I didn't like the way you came in my house, the way you came into my house and treated me bad." And Shahida was like, "Well, what did I do? Or what did I say?" It's like, it's not much what you said, it's like how you said it. You said it in an aggressive tone. And Shahida was like, "No, I did not." And then got a tone with that. And Shaida's like, "Yes, you did." And the tone was like how you just did it right now. And then all of a sudden, Shahida just starts going crazy, just starts screaming and hollering at her and everything. Like, "Balao, you better get her. You better get her. She don't know me. She don't know me." And Shaida was like, "Well, you don't know me either, Shahida." Blah, blah, blah. It was just back and forth. It was just back and forth. I actually thought they were actually going to really get into it. Like, that was actually entertaining. And Shahida even threatened her. He's like, "Balao, you better get her, because I might do something to her. I'm gonna like knock her out or something." And Shaida was like, "Yeah, I would like to see you really do that. And if you want to carry, as that's the way you want to act as a Muslim woman, yeah, shame on you and stuff." Well, and they're screaming back and forth, and Balao is talking to Muslim, like saying, "I rebuke this, I rebuke this, I rebuke this." Like, calm down. Like he was like praying. He was like really praying. He was like literally praying for them while they're screaming at each other. And Shahida just takes off the microphone and just leaves. And she's like, "I'm not apologizing for something I did not do. I did not do anything. This, and that." So I'm telling you, it was really entertaining to see that. That was the most. And Bilal's just sitting there, just not saying anything except for praying. He's just not saying anything. So they get up, Shahida leaves, Balao and Shaida go. They're in the car, Balao says nothing. Balao said in his confessional that, "I'm scared to say anything right now because it's not going to come out right." So that was funny. And we just like, "Balao, I don't know if you want to go gangster on him or not, but who was in the wrong?" Judging by the previews of next week, he's gonna blame Shaida for that, and I think that's wrong. I hope I get to. I wonder how the conversation's gonna go, but it looks like he's gonna blame Shaida for that, and that's not right. Shahida came in guns blazing, so for him to do that, Balao's already been getting a bad rep as it is, and now he's gonna blame Shaida for that one. He's gonna really get gonna get a bad rep. So yeah, that was them. Oh, there's another couple I want to talk about, Jovi and Yara. So Jovi and Yara, this episode, Yara just confesses to Jovi that she wants her boobs done after hanging out with her friends from last week. Jovi said, Yara's boobs don't look good, but she does look good naked, but her boobs are not as what they used to be ever since she been breastfeeding Mila and whatever, but Jovi thinks she looks good the way she is. And they also had a big discussion. They went to this winery. I guess Jovi's mother, Gwen, who's been babysitting Mila so much, I guess they all had a falling out. And now Gwen hasn't been around for months. So, and I just had a feeling that was going to happen because Yara, as I said, I'm not a fan of Yara. Like I said, she complains way too much about things. And I think her ungratefulness me personally thinks that her ungratefulness finally caught up to Jovi's mom, Gwen. So we'll see how that goes. So yeah, but that was basically all of that. Not much from Jovi and Yara, but that Balao and Shaida thing, that just cracked me up. Really cracked me up. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe to my channel. I'll be doing more videos soon. Next week, next Monday, I will be doing this 90 Day, The Single Life Season 3 will start, so I'll be doing that one. So be sure to check that out next week. I'll be back on Wednesday to do Married at First Sight. So thank you guys for watching. Have a happy and safe Labor Day.